Hey you guys. So this is going to be a video about why we should be learning Shou Gong. Hopefully you're already somewhat familiar with the history, although to be honest, I don't think it matters like that much. If you've come across the channel, or maybe you've seen the West Country Shou Gong website and you're just like, what is this? I do have another video which talks a little bit about what it is more generally, and yeah, a little bit about the history. But if you're already kind of like, okay, I've heard of it and I kind of get what it is, but I'm not sold on it. You know, I don't really know whether it's something that's for me. Then yeah, hopefully this video will be of some assistance to you, right? Okay, so why become a seasoned Yanshou Gonger like me? Well, there are a few benefits. The easiest way to start, I think, is by looking at the physical benefits. So I think the most obvious one is just the benefits it has with our posture. We often say, you know, it strengthens the body. Doing these forms, doing these practices, it strengthens the body. Obviously not in a kind of like Johnny bodybuilder way, because I mean, look, you're right. Like, it's not going to improve your big three, your total, right? You're not going to get a stronger bench press or deadlift or whatever practicing Shou Gong. I mean, hey, maybe you will, but my personal opinion is that yeah, it's better to stick to the gym for that stuff. So when we say strengthen the body, or at least when I'm talking about strengthening the body, it's more about things like you know, your like your posture is better, right? Or you know, you're not having issues with your spine, or like when I talk about strengthening the body, think more like you're improving your nerd neck, as opposed to trying to get visible bicep veins, right? So it's more kind of general strength. It's not yeah, it's not powerlifting stuff, right? So in terms of like, if you're coming to do martial arts and you're like, oh, I want like a chiseled, you know, Chris Bumstead-esque physique, this ain't it. You know, like, it's not gonna do it. But if you're just kind of like, hey, look, I've been finding that my posture isn't so good, or like my mobility, or maybe you're having issues with joint stiffness or something like that. I think that doing these more kind of gentle practices can do a lot of good for us, right? So yeah, when it comes to flexibility, the flexibility of our joints or whatever, it's not as full on again as something like Vinyasa yoga, but it's still challenging. I mean, I'm an instructor and I still find some of the movements challenging. So I think you know, we all kind of come to this martial art from, how to say it, we all have different levels of mobility and flexibility when we pick this up, right? And for me, I found that it's definitely improving things for me. And I think that a lot of people who practice this art, they find the same thing. It's very beneficial for our flexibility. In terms of the sort of physical benefits, I would say that's where the main kind of meat of it lie. But there's also all these mental benefits as well. So our ability to ground, to reduce stress, I think that's massively important. You know, in this kind of, it's weird because I think we always say like, yeah, in this modern world, it's very stressful, you know, anxiety is up, depression is up, all that kind of stuff. I mean, not to say that life was ever completely idyllic, but maybe it was at some point, but, you know, I don't know about that. But hey, look, we're living in the here and now. And yeah, things are stressful. And I think learning these practices can really help us to reduce that stress. It can give us tools, or I don't know, just different practices or techniques that can help us to cultivate more of a state of peace, right? And I think that that carries on, you know, with us throughout whatever we're doing, whether it's sort of some work function, or maybe we find different stuff with our families hard, or you know, it could be anything. It could be anything, right? But I do think that doing these practices that we learn in Yan Shou Gong, it helps us a lot, right? Um, there is a lot as well. Like a lot of people say that they've found. I mean, this goes back to the more physical stuff, that they've found relief from different aches or pains. For me, I don't really have. I mean, I've never suffered with like issues with like chronic pain, right? So for me, thankfully, like, I've not had to overcome something like that. So yeah, for me, it's been much more beneficial for me or rather, I should say, my focus has been on improving my overall sense of well-being, and I think that that's something that most people that I've studied with or have worked with when I've been teaching people or assisting or whatever, they've kind of, that's been a recurring thing that's come up, you know, that it's helped them in terms of their state of mind. At least that's my impression so far, right? And with the last category, this is more veering into like spiritual territory. Um, it's where we aim to cultivate this kind of life energy. So we tend to say, you know, it's a cultivation of qi, which is the Chinese term. Although if you've done maybe different Japanese martial arts, maybe you refer to it as ki, or maybe if you've done yoga or something like that, you might know the term prana, or even like orgone. So maybe it's a little bit more out there. But I think all we're really trying to get at is that it's this life force energy. You know, it's whatever it is that flows through us when we're alive, that doesn't flow through us when we are not alive, right? I think that's the easiest way to think of it. And to be honest, I don't think it's necessary even really to believe in qi. I think that we can experience a lot of benefits from practicing Yan Shou Gong in the same way that we can get benefits from practicing lots of different martial arts without necessarily wholeheartedly being like, okay, we believe in this energy. But I think even though there are benefits to learning it just as a system like any other, I think it's important to mention it because it is a part of it. It's something that we aim to cultivate, right? And you know, if you can increase that flow of qi through the body, it's said to boost the immune system, to assist our bodies in healing more quickly from injuries, and in general just to improve the quality of our lives, of our health, right? And I don't know whether I mentioned in this video, but Yan Shou Gong is the art of longevity, and so obviously this all kind of ties in together, right? The physical, the mental, and the, again, I don't know whether spiritual is a really good word for it, but this more kind of it's a little bit it's more intangible, let's say that. But all these three things, they tie together, right? And I would say as well that it from my own more like personal perspective, I was going to say, if I was a plane or something, I think that's probably some like farming related vehicle. We're based out in the countryside, so yeah, there'll be a lot of that, unfortunately. But yeah, so Yeah, I'm not going to cut it out. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I was saying about the sensitivity. Like when I started learning this stuff, there's all kind of new sensations that I became aware of in my body. It made me feel more connected to my body, more kind of yeah. I think connected is probably the best way to say it, or a better awareness. And it wasn't just from doing Yan Shou Gong, I should say as well. I also practiced Hanyang Ru Gong from Master Dennis Wang, and I think they both have worked really well together. I'm a Yan Shou Gong instructor, so I obviously the channel is focused on Yan Shou Gong, but I think it would be unfair of me not to mention that I got a lot of benefit from Hanyang as well. But from doing both these arts, Yan Shou Gong and Hanyang Ru, I found that I was experiencing all these sensations which I'd kind of heard other people talk about, but that I'd never had them myself. I think the best examples of that are like when doing the different exercises. If you've done any qigong, you've done some kind of building the ball type exercise, right? And you know you might get feelings of almost like tingling around the hands, particularly around the Lao Gong, the energy center here. And for me, I was starting to feel kind of almost like beams of like I don't know what to say really, like heat, I suppose, but focused in one particular point. It's hard to explain. Like it sounds maybe a little bit bizarre, but I'd heard other people talk about these sensations when they're practicing different things. Like maybe it's similar to what people experience when they do Reiki or something like that. But for me, I'd never experienced it, not with my background in different harder, kind of more external martial arts. And then when I started doing these practices in Hanyang and in Yan Shou Gong, yeah, I started to feel that I could tangibly feel a connection between the two different energy centers in the palms, and also the soles of my feet as well. So it might be energy sort of traveling up through the ground, through sort of the foot and up the ankle into the shin or whatever. And yeah, it's weird. It's weird to really. I mean, it was weird for me to be like, hey, like I'd heard about this stuff. I'd heard about chi or prana or whatever for years, but like I'd never had a real awareness of it in my body. And I'm sure there'll be some people that have more kind of like materialistic explanations of that, like, oh well, it's just the way your nerves interact with this, that, or the other. And like I think that's okay as well. You know, even if it turns out that is what it is, that's okay. You know, I'm not here to try and change anyone's belief system or anything like that. But it's more like, hey, whatever it is, however you explain it, I wasn't having those sensations before, and now when I do these exercises, I can feel them, and it's just such a great feeling. And maybe it sounds like unpleasant or something, like tingling or heat or whatever, but it's not. It's yeah, no, it might be a bit strange at first, or it feels a little bit like, oh, you know, it's confronting. Might not be the right word, but it does kind of challenge. Or for me, I found it challenged what I thought of my connection with my body, to have these different things happening and be like, okay, well, what does this mean, right? Like, what is this? But it's a big part of doing Yan Shou Gong. So I think it's important to talk about this flow of energy, right? And yeah, in a more kind of just to veer in a different direction. I do think that Yan Shou Gong is a good accompanying system for people that already do stuff like BJJ, or maybe they do boxing, or yeah, just something like that. Like maybe you have an interest in MMA or something. And this isn't gonna, as I said before, I think I've said it in other videos, but it's not like if your goal, same as what I said about earlier about let's say you want to be like a bodybuilder or something. This is not the right tool for that, right? This is not the right system to achieve that. And in the same way, if you're like, hey, look, I want to be in the octagon, you want to be a cage fighter, this is not going to be the first choice, right? But I do think that if you already have an interest in MMA or something like that, it can pair well with a system like this, because again, it improves your connection with your body. It can improve more kind of subtle things. I mean, all I can say is that in my experience, it's paired very well with the Filipino martial arts that I do. And yeah, so again, if you don't already do a style, like a harder style, and that's what you want to do, you're like, I want to learn about fighting. Yeah, maybe this isn't the going to be at the top of the list, but I would just recommend all people to try it out. It's probably going to have a different impact on you watching than it's had on me. Like, we all come to it from a different place. But yeah, I'd really just reiterate how good it's been for me, and I just hope that it's something that can really help you guys out as well. I don't want to, make this super long, so we can wrap it there, I think. But yeah, please do like the video. Thank you for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed it, and that it was informative or amusing or whatever, right? And yeah, you can always comment stuff and let me know if there's questions you want answered, and maybe there's going to be things that come up in the comments that I think, okay, I can make a video about that. And if it's something that I'm not really qualified to answer, I can always communicate with other people in the organization, and hopefully we can get any questions answered that come up, right? But yeah, with that, I just want to say much love. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the world, and remember, Gong is never say die.